This is Dan Dicks here reporting for Press for Truth, and it has now been almost a week since the attempted assassination of Donald Trump. And as more of the pieces of the puzzle continue to come in, there are now just more questions that are going unanswered. So in this video, we're going to take a look at some of the latest developments like this. Biden is under new pressure from top Democrats as COVID halts his campaign. That's right, Joe Biden suffers fresh setback after COVID diagnosis halts the president's campaign. So it's not that he is in cognitive decline. It's not that he can barely, form a sentence. And it's certainly not the fact that his opponent was just skyrocketed to rock star status after having survived an assassination attempt on his life. No, none of that has anything to do with Joe Biden pulling out of the race. It's COVID is the reason. And I think we're going to hear that in a few days from now, folks, that COVID will be the reason for this man dropping out of the race. This man who, I will remind you, said this:
if you're vaccinated and boosted, you are highly protected. So there's no excuse for anyone being unvaccinated. This continues to be a pandemic of the unvaccinated.
Really? Interesting thing for a man to say who's been vaccinated multiple times and who have gotten a COVID positive result multiple times as well. It's interesting that the masks became a political symbol for the left, but even more interestingly, right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is becoming a political symbol for those on the right. And I absolutely would not be surprised if one day the likes of someone like Netflix tries to make a movie about this, and this would probably be the actor that they would hire in order to portray what happened. But certainly a lot of the information and the footage and the true things that went on would be left out. There's all kinds of new footage coming out all the time, like this new unseen footage. This is just remarkable. Secret Service and state police were in a mad scramble after the Trump assassination attempt to get the reactionary squad through the fence to get to the former president. This was a security breakdown of monumental proportions. Look at this, guys. This is literally the police and the Secret Service trying to get their vehicles through a fence that they weren't able to get through. Look, they're ramming their vehicle trying to gain access to where they could protect the former president. Like, they didn't have any kind of a contingency plan set up here. This is just absolutely insane. There's also new exclusive video showing up like this of the shooter walking around all by himself, looking up, at the rooftops. An hour before the shooting took place. Look at him, just wandering around outside the perimeter. And this is after he went through a security checkpoint and was caught with a rangefinder, guys. Sniper took picture of Trump rally shooter, saw him use a rangefinder before assassination attempt. This is absolutely remarkable. This picture, by the way, that the sniper took is this one here that was circulating widely online, and it looks like the location of the photo has been revealed. This is the building. This is the little concrete slabs on the side of the building that would show where this photo was taken from a sniper on the top. But you'll notice in this photo that the shooter has long hair here, and interestingly enough, the mainstream media has constantly decided to show this picture of the shooter, which is obviously not very recent. I mean, look at the length of his hair compared to right here. Well, this is a photo that is now just come out, which is allegedly showing the shooter way more recently, because look at the length of his hair here compared to the length of his hair here. It would appear that this is clearly a more recent photo. I'll leave it up to you to speculate as to why the mainstream media would not post this photo and instead rather go for this one. But here's something that's very interesting coming out about his parents that you may not have known, guys. The Trump shooter's parents, they called the police hours before the assassination attempt. That's right, Thomas Cook's parents called the cops on the day of the Trump rally shooting. And if that wasn't crazy enough, they're not the only ones. Cops radioed a blanket tactical channel about the shooter after the rooftop confrontation, yet absolutely nothing was done. We're going to take a look at this Zero Hedge article, which points that out, and also this interesting timeline is very revealing. You look, 3 o'clock, the assassin is under suspicion when a rangefinder sets off a metal detector. Fast forward to 5:45, counter sniper spots the assassin on top of the roof and he radios it in. 6:02 to 6:04, they allow Trump to take the stage. 6:11, after enjoying 7 minutes to set up his shot, the assassin brandishes a rifle at a police officer, a cop. Seconds later, the assassin gets off 8 shots at Trump before he is shot. This is insane. And yeah, that might be a little bit of an understatement. The Secret Service explanations for security failures is just not adding up. DHS Inspector General has just launched an investigation, largely because of the Secret Service members who spotted this Trump rally shooter on the roof 20 minutes before the gunfire erupted. And in case you hadn't seen this, the director of the Secret Service was asked, shouldn't have that roof been secured? And she says there was too much of a slope on the roof for them to put their people up there. Just listen to this.
Should that roof have been secure, period?
That building in particular has a sloped roof at its highest point. And so, there's a safety factor that would be considered there, that we wouldn't want to put somebody up on a sloped roof.
What? Like, you have to be absolutely kidding me, right? Yeah, the slope of that roof looks really risky to put a Secret Service agent on top of it. Look at how precarious it is for those two guys to stand on. They're barely hanging on for dear life without falling off. Way too risky. Of course, this is absolute nonsense, and again, is one of these major questions that need to be answered. Also, this is a huge development, guys. Trump's stock was shorted heavily on the day before the assassination attempt. $1 billion asset manager shorted a Trump stock on the day before the assassination attempt. But this asset manager has actually come out and tried to backpedal on this, saying it's all just a clerical error. Massive bet on Trump stock falling day before he was shot was just an error. Austin Private Wealth, the LLC, filed with the SEC that they had placed a put or a short option on 12 million shares in Trump's media company, DJT, hours before a failed assassination attempt. Shorts are a bet that the value of a stock will drop. They later amended the filing and issued a statement claiming that was all just a clerical error. Certainly interesting timing there, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to take a look at this and much, much more in this video, guys. But really quickly, just before we do, I'd ask that you check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate. If you appreciate my efforts to bring you this info, guys, here you can do a one-time donation with PayPal. You can do Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. You could sign up here for a monthly reoccurring contribution. You can do so here as well at Subscribestar. You can send me an e-transfer to dan@pressfortruth.ca, or you can send stuff to my P.O. box, guys. Links for all of this are located in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who takes a minute today to support my efforts here at Press for Truth. All right, guys, it really is quite remarkable just how close Donald Trump came to losing his life. This is an angle that syncs up the shots, which would show how his head tilt happened at just the exact right moment for him to avoid being shot in the brain. Look at this piece that was put together showing exactly that. It is quite remarkable.
Take a look what happened.
I mean, literally less than an inch away from this world being a very, very, very different place. And some people would suggest that this billion-dollar asset manager potentially had foreknowledge of this event happening. Check this out, guys. After an assassination attempt on former President Donald Trump, which sent shockwaves through the U.S. political landscape, Trump media shares surged more than 60% in the early trading hour on Monday before retracing back by 20% to a valuation of $36.89 at the latest close as of July 16th. However, a fact bound to raise a few questions is that short positions against Truth Social stock doubled between July 1st and July 12th, going from 7 to 15 million shares in what was a record of shares shorted for DJT stock since its trading debut. So this surge indicates that individuals or large organizations anticipated a significant drop in the stock's value by July 15th, a scenario that would likely have materialized had President Trump died in Pennsylvania. Now, as I said, the company who is responsible for this is now backpedaling and saying this is all just a clerical error. Check this out. The SEC filing, which showed that Austin Private Wealth shorted a large number of shares of Trump Media and Technology Group Corp., was incorrect, and we immediately amended it as soon as we learned of the error. No clients of APW holds or has ever held a put on DJT in the quantity initially reported. The correct holding amount was 12 contracts, or 1,200 shares, not 12 million shares, as was filed in the error. In submitting the required report for the second quarter of 2024, a multiplier was applied by a third-party vendor that increased the number of shares by a multitude of 10,000 for all options contracts, not just DJT. We didn't catch the error before approving the filing. We filed the report on July 12th to reflect our positions on June 28th, and we amended it on July 16th. So let me know what you guys think. If you think they just happened to catch this error in the right amount of time, or are they backpedaling here? Because this certainly does seem pretty shady. That a $1 billion asset company would allegedly make this key mistake and just continue to file this on the 12th, the day before the shooting. Again, this is some of these, unanswered questions that need to be answered here. In fact, Zero Hedge put together a pretty good article here with this one about the cops being radioed on a blanket technical channel, and I want to show you this video here, which explains how the cop who went onto the roof radioed in on a radio that everybody was listening to, and they still did nothing about it. Evidence continues to mount that Saturday's attempted assassination of Donald Trump by shooter Thomas Matthew Crooks was allowed to happen despite ample warnings from bystanders, local police, and even the shooter's parents. 3 hours before the shooting, security for the rally caught Crooks with a rangefinder and let him go. 40 minutes before the shooting, law enforcement circulated a picture of Crooks crawling around on the ground. Local PD notified the Secret Service that they had inadequate resources to monitor the building used by Crooks, and the parents of Thomas Matthew Crooks called law enforcement before the assassination attempt to warn them that their son was missing and that they were worried about this young man. Now, here's the major kicker. After Crooks was positioned on the roof, one cop boosted another cop onto the roof line, only for Crooks to point his weapon at him, and at that point, the boosted cop fell, but then he radioed it in, which everybody heard, which begs the question, why did they not get Trump off the stage? Just listen to this coming directly from the horse's mouth.
Did in fact see an individual on the roof with a weapon.
He saw the shooter.
He did.
Your officers are on patrol. They hear that there is a suspicious person on the rooftop. What did your officers do?
So our officers in the area started to converge on the building. My understanding is they did a full perimeter walk of the building. Weren't able to see up on the roof. Two of the officers went to what appeared to be the lowest point from ground to roof. One of the officers actually boosted the second officer up high enough for him to grab hold of the roof. When he was able to pull his head up over the roof, he did in fact see an individual on the roof with a weapon.
He saw the shooter.
He did.
And what did the shooter do?
Turned towards him, had the barrel of his weapon pointed at the officer.
At that point, the officer's hanging on
Yes.
to the side of the roof?
Yes.
Unable to pull a gun out.
Unable to
Unable to defend himself. Unable to reach his radio.
Any of that. Yeah. Strictly defensive movement for him to lower his head, duck, lost his own grip, right? Fell approximately 8 feet to the ground.
That's a steep drop.
It's a good drop, yes.
Did he get hurt?
He did.
In that.
Now, all of this I reported on in my most recent video on this, what no one else is saying about the Trump assassination attempt that needs to be said. But the new information that has just come out is that they radioed this in and absolutely nothing was done. Listen to this.
At that moment, did they realize there's a threat right now to the former president?
They did. So both the boosting officer and the officer that fell were both on the radio, indicating that there was an individual on the roof that did in fact have a weapon.
Who did they radio?
So there was a blanket tactical channel being
Everyone
used.
heard it.
Everyone that was on that tactical channel heard
Everyone
it. Yes.
heard it.
How much time between that radio communication and the gun being fired at the former president?
So every single person on that tactical channel heard that there was a significant threat on the roof, yet nothing was done. Just look at this summation here. It breaks it down pretty good. It includes a video. I'll put a link to this in the description below. Thomas Crooks was eliminated by snipers 26 seconds after he shot and wounded former President Donald Trump. 26 seconds is a long time when we're talking about Secret Service response to a shooter. The U.S. Secret Service knew Crooks was on the roof 20 minutes before the assassination attempt. The closest Secret Service counter-sniper team was potentially obstructed from taking the kill shot on Crooks. It was positioned approximately 430 feet from the shooter. The second Secret Service team is reported to have killed the gunman. It was located approximately 570 feet away. Crooks had been seen on Secret Service radar. He'd been on their radar for 40 minutes before the assassination attempt. A local counter-assault team was stationed inside the building where Crooks made his assassination attempt from the rooftop. No one had warned Trump or even removed him from the stage. So again, this is a major development, which is, again, raising more questions that need to be answered as more of these pieces of the puzzle continue to come in. So I'm going to continue to, follow this one and document this one, guys. If you have not seen my most recent video on this, what no one else is saying about the Trump assassination attempt, that needs to be said, please make sure you watch that one, folks. There is important information that is contained within that video. If you haven't seen it, be sure to check it out. Once again, if you do appreciate my efforts to bring you all of this info, don't forget to check me out here at pressfortruth.ca/donate. You can check that top link in the description below. And that's all for today, guys. Just wanted to bring some of these new updates to your attention. Once again, if you do appreciate my efforts to do so, please check the top link in the description below to where you can donate. Please click the thumbs up button, share this video, and stay tuned, guys. We're going to have more video reports coming soon. This is Dan Dicks reporting for Press for Truth. We all want truth. The truth will set you free.